Ben, we're going to hear now from Rachel Nesbit. Rachel is a Postdoctoral Research Fellow. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Postdoctoral Research Fellow at the University of Exeter. She has come out of working with young people and around young people's mental health. Rachel, do you want to stick your video on? But has been working around sort of like mental health and adolescence, and now is focused on children's play, and in particular engaging with parents in their play. And we had a lovely conversation, didn't we, the other day, Rachel, about how to get hold of parents and what parents think about play. And I mean, it's the first thing that schools say when you come into a school. It's like, oh, the parents might not want us to do this, but when you talk to parents, they all love play, and unpicking all of those issues is so complicated. Rachel, I am looking forward to hearing you talk about adventurous play in schools, what helps and hinders. So I know this is a topic very close to many of our hearts, and we've just been hearing a lot about how adventurous play helps children in developing personal kind of lots of capabilities and competencies. So I really look forward to hearing your research.
Thank you. Can you see my slides okay?
No, I can't see your slides yet. I see you beautifully, and lots of books I want to read back there. One of the best things about all these Zoom things, isn't it? You get to see everybody else's bookshelves. I purposely have not put the bookshelf behind me. Ah, there we go. If you press the present, that should be fine. That's great. If you need any help, just wave at us again.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you so much for the invite. I'm really happy to be speaking today. So as Kath said, my name is Rachel Nesbit, and I'm a postdoctoral research fellow in the Child and Young People's Mental Health Collaboration at the University of Exeter. And today I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of some of the work our team has been conducting, looking at adventurous play in schools. But more specifically, what are the things that might make it easier or harder for schools to offer adventurous play opportunities? So I'm well aware that I am speaking to you as school staff today. A lot of you are school staff, so perhaps some of these things may resonate with you. And following on from what Helen spoke of earlier, so Helen introduced this concept of adventurous play. And what we mean by this is play that is thrilling, exciting, where children may experience a level of fear and are able to take age-appropriate risks. So specifically, it is play where children are able to challenge themselves. And as Helen introduced earlier, we believe that adventurous play may be really important for children's mental health. It's important for them to learn about coping, learn about uncertainty, and learn about physiological arousal. And the work that I have been leading is all to do with gaining an understanding of what are the barriers and facilitators. So what makes it hard, or what hinders schools from being able to provide adventurous play opportunities for children to begin with. So as part of this work, we have recently published a systematic review of qualitative work. And I just wanted to highlight that this paper is freely available. So if you are interested, please do go and take a read. And it's quite a long paper. So given the time constraints today, I'm only going to sort of give you the overarching messages. But if you are interested, you can find the beautiful quotes in that paper. So what we did then was we wanted to look at all research that had been conducted, sort of implementing adventurous play in schools and getting those ideas of what things might make it hard and what things make it easier. And overall, we identified what we call 5 synthesized findings. So these are 5 overall findings. And within these, there are subcategories or themes. And I'm just going to speak through these now, and perhaps you can relate to some of these as well. So the first synthesized finding was all to do with external judgment and legislative factors, and this consisted of 3 categories. So the first described how accountability guides supervision on the school playground, and that was often a concern of school staff. So the next category described how school staff often feared external judgment if they offered adventurous play opportunities. And this was made in relation to outside agencies such as Ofsted, but also to things like passers-by judging the aesthetics of the school playground. And then finally in this category was the category relating to perceived consequences of failing in duty of care. And the next synthesized finding here relates quite nicely to some of the things Ben was saying. So this all related to perceptions of children. So one category described how some school staff perceive children as unable to judge risk for themselves and to initiate play. And this was a barrier for children in order to engage in sort of adventurous play. But on the other hand, it was clear that a facilitator of adventurous play was recognising children's play and recognising children's ability to judge play and judge risk for themselves. And the third synthesized finding here was labelled as stepping in and stepping back, and this consisted of two categories. So the first described a barrier of adventurous play engagement with staff intervening and directing children's play. And this was either through removing children from play equipment or directing children's play through language. However, what we saw was, in terms of a facilitator of adventurous play, staff taking a step back allowed children to engage in adventurous play. And often by stepping back, staff realised that they gained more confidence in actually children's abilities to judge risk for themselves and children's abilities to initiate their own play. And then the fourth synthesized finding here all related to elements of the school environment and culture, and this consisted of three categories. So the first described how supporting adventurous play through training was a core facilitator for adventurous play. Also, what was highlighted was the importance of having parent support in implementing these programs. And then the final category here describes practical considerations that often acted as barriers for adventurous play. So these were things like time, financial concerns, or the need to constantly review and maintain equipment. And then the last synthesized finding here was all to do with perceptions of adventurous play. And this consisted of three different categories. So it was evident that positive beliefs and commitment to adventurous play was a really strong facilitator. The second category here refers to uncertainty and anxiety surrounding adventurous play. So this was mainly in relation to school staff's uncertainty in how to supervise adventurous play in the school playground, and also a little bit of uncertainty around what adventurous play was and what children should or should not be allowed to do. And then finally, the last category here refers to perceptions of risk. And this was in terms of perceptions of equipment, so loose parts equipment, for example, and also just more broadly perceptions of risk. Okay, so that was a very quick tour of sort of that review, but please do go and read it if you are interested. And in the paper, we also outline a big list of recommendations for policy and practice, but I'm just going to touch upon a couple of those today. So I believe that if we're going to allow children the opportunity to engage in adventurous play, we really need to take a whole school approach when thinking about this. We need to ensure that school staff are supported to reflect on how their current rules and practices may be having a positive or negative impact on children's play, including what staff do to manage their own uncertainty. And I think fundamentally, training and education around adventurous play is vital. We need to address fears and uncertainty surrounding staff member and school accountability in relation to duty of care and the potential for child injury. We need to include training regarding children's skills and capabilities, including children's abilities to judge risk for themselves. We need to ensure that staff are aware of how intervening in children's play may actually limit their engagement in adventurous play. And perhaps most importantly, we really need to focus on developing positive beliefs about adventurous play, including having an understanding of the benefits. So why would we want to do it to begin with? And on that note, I just wanted to say a little bit about parents and play in schools. So we have also been hearing from parents about what they might think of play in schools. And I just wanted to provide a couple of key points here. So first of all, this is part of the British Children's Play Survey, and we asked parents to what extent they think playtime is a vital part of the school day and should be prioritised for all children. And as we can see here, the majority of parents we surveyed agree with this statement. So overall, it appears that parents do see the value of playtime as a whole. And we also asked, how would you feel about children playing in an adventurous way with some challenge and risk when they play in school? And what we can see here is that around 16% of parents we surveyed thought that children should be kept as safe as possible whilst in school. However, the remaining proportion of parents believe that children should be allowed to challenge themselves and take some careful risks while playing in school, perhaps more so under adult supervision. And then finally, I'm also currently carrying out interviews with parents about children's play in schools. And as part of this, we told parents that one of the main worries of school staff for introducing adventurous play is that they're worried about what parents might think. And these are just some of the things that they had to say. So for time's sake, I'm not going to read them all out, but I think I'll go with this purple one. And really here, this is a parent that is reiterating the importance of involving parents in the decision making. And they said, I think they need to speak to parents more then and get their thoughts on it, rather than just thinking about, wondering what parents might think. And then just quickly, I am still recruiting and looking for school staff for this project. So if you are able to help, we're specifically looking for school staff who are from Black, Asian and minority ethnic groups. So I will post that afterwards. And I just wanted to leave you on this quote. So this is a head teacher from one of the systematic review papers. And I think this doesn't just relate to adventurous play, but changing play in schools more broadly. So they said, you've got to believe in risky active play. You've got to have total commitment as to why you want to do it, what you believe are the benefits for children. If you are not committed to it, then I really do not see it working. And on that note, I just want to thank my research team, specifically Helen Dodd, our funders, UK Research and Innovation, and thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions.